That started and share my screen with you all. Alrighty. Marketing and outreach for sponsors. So we talk a lot about youth-led. What under the marketing and outreach umbrella is a teen's responsibility and what's really something that a sponsor should be involved in? So first, work with what you have. If you don't have teens right now, or you have like one or two teens, get them involved as much as you reasonably can, but don't be afraid to just go and do some of this yourself because the point here is to help grow your program. The teens will get there. This will help them get there. If you have teens there, teach them the skills to do it themselves. So teens are really good at content creation, whether that's for social media or anything else. So encourage them to manage a social media account to create that content. They're going to know what their peers want anyways. We can only guess. Doesn't matter which generations we all fall in, we can only guess. We're not teens. Uh, you can also encourage your teens to leave reviews on Google. You can encourage parents to do the same and other volunteers. Teens can really take the lead on community outreach ideas and design their own promotional materials. They can even fundraise to be able to help fund some of the marketing and outreach endeavors as well. Where sponsors really need to be involved is anything that could require consistency, account management, or being that liaison to church staff or board. Um, you know, that's kind of our role anyways. The very nature of Y.O.U is we deal with a lot of transition. It's a high school program. At most, we got them for 4 years. Ideally, we're going to be there longer. So we're here to really maintain the structure so that all those teens coming through have something they can step into easily, take on, and pass on to the next Y.O.U.er. So in this case, um, databases and calendars, and I'm going to go into more of what that means. A lot of those require some sort of account setup. So keeping track of logins, that's a good job for a sponsor. Making sure those logins don't get lost every time the Y.O.U.ers graduate. That's no
Yes,
fun.
no fun at all.
Um, a lot of those listings are also going to need a contact person. That needs to be an adult, not a teen, and it needs to not be a personal email address. Ideally, something that is through your church or set up a Y.O.U at myunity at Gmail. So keep those logins organized, keep that data organized, and listings on different databases need to be consistent. So get your Y.O.U.ers involved in creating what that listing will say, put it in a shared doc, and then let them do the actual posting. But don't just be like, hey, here's 10 databases, y'all post
Uh-huh.
whatever you want. You need
That's
some
right.
consistency across different databases.
There's the edges.
Ideally, you also want your description to align with whatever's on your church website. Um, and then any sort of church media, that, whether it's emails, bulletins, slides, etc., there's probably a point of contact. And while it's great to have a Y.O.U.er help be part of that conversation, maybe even lead that conversation, our roles as volunteers and staff is to really be the liaison between the teens and the group. So it helps to have us there just to know, to be in the know of what's going on. Or if we don't have teens, it falls on us as the sponsors to have those conversations. And finally, many of us are part of the Unity branding program. There are rules around what kind of ways we're supposed to use the logo, what colors, and we want to make sure any promotional materials that the teens are creating align with the branding for the church. So helping the teens get that information really is important. And that doesn't necessarily apply to like a flyer for an event, but it might apply if your Y.O.U.ers decide to design a brochure specifically advertising the Youth of Unity. You know, you want your actual church logo on there. and the church is probably going to want it to align with the color scheme. So just being that in between there. All right, so let's dive into what this all means. So databases. Databases are great because community databases and directories allow people to find businesses that meet very specific parameters without having to sort through 10 pages of Google results. So some examples of this might be your local LGBT center probably has an LGBT-friendly business directory. You want to make sure your Unity's on it. If your Unity's not on it, those folks who are looking for an LGBT-friendly church have one less to choose from. They might be able to get there with Google, maybe, if your website's good. Just go ahead and get it on those directories. For us as sponsors, it's really helpful to find those parenting directories. I know in our area, we've got Triad Moms on Main. It is the place to go to find out about volunteer programs for youth, to find out about leadership clubs, extracurricular activities, sports, etc. So our Y.O.U group is listed as both a leadership club and a volunteer opportunity. Additional ones might be church databases. There are a lot of websites out there that are national or international that are just a database of churches, and they allow people to filter through looking for churches that match their specific parameters. So if they want a church that's LGBT friendly and ordains women and has a youth program, they can put those check boxes in their filters and find a list of churches in their area that meet those parameters. And we want to show up. And I have a large living spreadsheet that has a lot of those national and international links already in it that we're going to send out to you.
Awesome.
But a lot of your local ones, you're going to want to go to Google to find those. Calendars. Community calendars are an amazing resource. You can post any of your public events for free. And you want to get as many of your public events as you can. So if you do host game nights or trunk or treats or anything like that, get them on the community calendars. You can even put your Y.O.U sessions on community calendars if you're comfortable with doing it, and if that community calendar allows reoccurring posts. Some don't want faith-based programming, some don't want ongoing programs. They just want big events. I know in our case, we've used Eventbrite a lot, all events, Facebook events, but then also that Triad Moms on Main website has a calendar specifically for kids and teen programs in the area. So those calendars can be a great resource.
Hmm.
And a lot of local newspapers and news channels will have their own free community calendars on their websites. It doesn't matter what bias they have, anybody's welcome to post an event. All right, church communications. Take a second and pull up your Unity website.
I'll put mine up on the phone and see, because I don't do it on the phone too often. You know, it shows up differently. It's always good to know the difference.
All right, when you've got your website pulled up, looking at just the home page, how long does it take to find you evidence of your Y.O.U program?
Well, on my phone, from our homepage, in the first screen without scrolling, there is in-person, it says, what does it say? In-person Sunday Children's Ministry. So that doesn't say Y.O.U specific on that one, but if you click into it, youth of all ages welcome. there's a place to register, and then we have the 100 years of Youth of Unity, that presentation that's going on tomorrow. But we don't have a Y.O.U program yet. So there's not that piece. So it's yeah, not terrible.
Yeah, the fact that your children's ministry is listed right there on the homepage is fantastic. You'd be shocked how many Unity churches you have to dig for any mention of anything youth related. And the thing is if
Mm.
you have a family in the community that is looking for a church home and they have kids, any website they go to for a church that doesn't mention their youth program, they're not going
They're
to
gonna
consider
skip.
it.
You're right.
And if they have to go to that website and dig for it, let's say they know what Unity is, they want a Unity with a Y.O.U program, but they go to that Unity website and it takes like 10 clicks to even find mention of a Y.O.U program. It's a time and no contact info and a stock photo that's clearly 10 years old.
Yeah.
They're
Stock photo
probably
or a cartoon.
they're
Yeah.
probably still gonna skip that church because that's not proof of a current group.
Hmm.
So you really want to make sure that your website has photos of teenagers on it. Remember your photo releases though,
Yeah.
um, and evidence that there is a Y.O.U program. So if you have a Y.O.U group, where it has your Sunday service time underneath youth and family programs at same time or different time, whatever. Um, or if you have a separate tab for the youth page, make sure that tab is really obvious and that the photos throughout the website still represent families, youth, young adults, any ages that are really represented in your church. You want people to know that there are teens there and they're part of the community. They're not shoved away in the basement. The photos
Hmm.
aren't 20 years old or even 10 years old. Um, we all know if people are wearing masks, it's at least 3 years
And
old.
several old. Yeah.
If everybody's hugging all over each other, it's even older.
Or it might be brand new.
It could
We've
be
got a lot
brand
of,
new, but I don't
yeah.
know. We haven't gotten into the whole hugging thing quite as much yet.
Oh, shoot.
It's been a slow comeback. Uh, but all of this information also applies to the church social media. So if your Unity has a Facebook page or an Instagram, you want to look for the same things. Are there pictures of youth and family ministry? Are there pictures of Y.O.Uers? Are there pictures of Y.O.Uers in leadership or at community events? Or all of the pictures just congregants that meet that typical Unity demographic of 60 plus? Because if I, as a nearly 30 something, have kids and want to take them to a church, and that's all I see, what that tells me is my experience won't be shared and my kids' experience won't be shared, even if it's not true. So we got to remember, what message are we putting out there as to who is welcome? Um, And where we come in as sponsors is we're the ones to go and have those conversations with our church administrators who manage the website, who manage the Facebook and the Instagram. Maybe if those social media people need photos of youth because they're not in those youth spaces, we can provide those photos. We already know who we have photo releases on, right? So we can provide
Right.
those photos to them so that they have photos to share on the website, on social media that represent our youth programs. You also want to make sure you have current contact information for youth and Y.O.U on your website. Either a form that goes straight to a sponsor's email or the sponsor's work email, not their personal email. We don't want people getting hit with phishing scams. All right. Church communications. This again goes back to communicating with our church staff, volunteers, board members, etc. Um, does your church send out a weekly email? They probably do. Ours has an email list of over 600 people with an average Sunday attendance of 30. Do I want 30 people to know
Wow.
about Y.O.U or do I want 600 people to know about Y.O.U? So make sure your Y.O.U events are in the church email. If you have slides that run promos for events before service, Get your Y.O.U rally flyers on those slides. Get your Y.O.U events, or even just a blanket slide of this is what Y.O.U is. Here's a picture of our Y.O.Uers. Let the congregants know that there is a teen program. It is alive and well, or maybe it's in formation, maybe whatever stage you're in, make sure that people know. Because that's where you're going to get your new visitors who maybe left their teens home in bed and haven't brought them yet. Um, we have a family who just joined a couple weeks ago, and the mom came 3 times before she asked who the youth director was and brought her teens.
Mm, big deal.
So, yeah. Bulletin, if you have a paper bulletin, whatever that format is, see if you can get Y.O.U in there in any way possible, whether that's a listing of contact information or if your bulletin has events coming up, get your Y.O.U events in there. Also announcements. I know most churches have too many announcements. So really highlight your important ones, throw your rally deadlines in there as an announcement. That's really good for our current parents who may not always have the best communication with their teenagers and might need some extra reminders that, hey, rally paperwork is coming up. You need to get that in. But that also tells your visitors that there are these great events coming up and the church is willing to support the Y.O.U by sharing their events in the congregational space as well. Speaking of events, one thing I did not bring up on the website portion is Y.O.U events should be on the church website.
Mm-hmm.
Y.O.U events, and even if you don't have Y.O.Uers right now, put Chapter X on your church website.
Yeah.
Put the Next Gen Spirit Group on your church calendar, or the Parents in Unity Zoom. There's 3 great programs right there that you don't have to create. They're already there. We can cross promote.
Look at that. Here's our chapter X on our website.
Awesome.
Yay.
Okay. Some other ideas. Leave a Google review. Reviews are social currency. So if you haven't left a Google review for your Unity yet, do that by the end of the day. And maybe talk about how much you love volunteering or working with the youth program. I don't recommend using the term Y.O.U because folks who haven't
No.
been in Unity aren't going to know what that means. Youth group, teen group, high school, middle school, use generic terms, but leave a review and mention those. The reason why this is important is because if somebody Googles churches near me, the church with the most reviews is the one that's going to come up first. And if somebody
And
Googles youth groups near me, Google's going to pull up churches, but they're going to pull up reviews that have the term youth group in them. And with these reviews, you can also leave reviews on Yelp and Facebook, but Google's going to be most popular. And you can ask your Y.O.Uers to leave reviews. You can ask the parents to leave reviews. That is really one of the easiest ways to get more folks coming to your unit or finding out about your Unity through Google.
and you might want to say, Miranda, because full disclosure, I've never left a Google review. I've gone to Facebook and done reviews, and I just did a quick how to post a review on Google, and it's through Google Maps, it says. Or do you do a different, in the search bar, enter the name of the business, hit enter, click on reviews in the business listing, and then click write a review button. So is that
Google,
how you do it?
yeah, that's exactly how you do it. That is technically Google Maps, even if you are on a computer, on a browser. That just is the section of Google that handles reviews.
Cool.
You will need a Google account to leave a review. Most people who are actively using the internet probably already have some sort of Google account.
Some kind of Gmail or something.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep. Definitely look into how many reviews your Unity has. It's a really interesting thing to find out because when you look at how many reviews you have, what they're saying, and when the last one was, it
Or
tells
if
you,
there's any.
or if there are any, it
I'm
tells you
checking
a
right
lot.
now.
Yep. So you want those reviews. Nobody goes to a restaurant that has zero reviews
I
Yeah.
know.
or to a restaurant that has bad reviews or old reviews. So think about that when
Yeah.
it comes to reviews.
Well, there must have been a push. We've got 71 with a 4.8 stars, but I think the last one was 3 years ago.
Ah,
6 months ago. Adam put in 6 months ago.
go
There you
Adam.
go.
But
You can also
Hmm.
work with whomever is running the church's media to claim the business listing on Google if it's not already claimed. It will say claim this business at the bottom of the listing if no one's claimed it.
Hmm.
And then that way you can actually control the information on there. But anybody can suggest edits to that information that pops up, whether the time is wrong, the address is wrong, it's missing a website. Anybody can suggest changes there, and anybody can add photos to a Google listing. So you can add photos of your Y.O.U room. You can add photos of your Y.O.Uers with photo releases, or a group of them silhouetted against the sun where you can't actually
From the
see their
back.
faces. Yep.
Right.
Yep. Hands during a Y.O.U lesson. So that's social proof that there is a teen program here. That teen program is awesome. They're having fun. They're doing things. Um,
That's great.
Outreach events are a lot of fun. You can march in the Christmas parade. You can table at the Pride Festival, or if there's like a national night out event, summer music concerts. A lot of times those community festivals will let you table as a nonprofit for free or a very low cost. So then you can have your promotional materials that your Y.O.Uers have designed, and talk about Y.O.U and invite people to come and just get out there and be visible in the community. Service projects can also be outreach and hosting events that bring people in, whether that's a trunk or treat or a game night or whatever.
Hey, before you move on, Randa, you're talking about community events. What have you found personally in your arena has been a community event that you've been involved with that you have like had some kind of good, it, a good effect?
So we tabled at Pride last year. Now for us, Greensboro Pride does have a fee, so we can't do it necessarily every year. We've got to actually budget that in. The photo with the promo materials caption is actually a photo of three of our Y.O.Uers and one of our congregants at our Pride booth. So we tabled as a whole church, but we had information about Y.O.U, we had information about trunk or treat, and we actually gave away LGBT teen and kid books for free. We'd gotten a big donation of them, and we just gave them away, and that brought a whole bunch of folks to our booth. We didn't get a lot of Y.O.Uers that came after that, but we did get a couple of congregants who came and got very involved.
That's great.
So it's something I'm looking into doing again and really focusing on the Y.O.U program because that was my first time attending Greensboro Pride, and there were just a ton of teens. With prides, you never really know. Some prides are more a little more
Adult.
mature, some are more a
Yeah.
little more are more family friendly. Greensboro Pride turns out tons of teens. So
Wow.
definitely something I will tweak in the future to really try to get those teens involved. Let's see. You can also get really creative. A little free library on your church property, if you own your property, is a good way to bring people in. You could put some Unity booklets in there. You can get daily words and other Unity booklets for free from Unity Worldwide headquarters. They'll send you as many as you want. Put a
Mhm.
sticker on the back that says Youth of Unity program meets this time, this address, these age groups, and stick them in little free libraries, stick them in other places that you can leave print materials. There's lots of ways to get the word out there. And then promotional materials. Pretty much every Starbucks I've ever been in has a community board, and you can post a flyer on there. Most other stores around town, unless it's a big box store, they will let you post flyers. They'll especially let young people who come in and ask them post flyers. Uh, those young people just might need some help with transportation to get to those places. So, uh, 2 minutes. Okay. So there's lots to do. Any questions?
Hmm. I would love to see, that's just a comment. Well done, first of all, really great. I learned a lot. And yeah, to have us, a group of us join in the community, maybe that comes from this training, group of us that kind of joins in and keeps sharing about like what's working. Hey, I tried this, what's working? Hey, I tried this. Because you can go to, let's say you go to a community event and then nothing comes of it. And then how do you tweak it? So you had a good idea, Miranda, to say like, oh, we had a bunch of giveaway books and people came. Like it's something they want, not, I don't know, something they wouldn't want, but free paper airplanes. People are like, ah. So, but that might be popular. But just to share, I really feel that in order to get this going, because we've lost in the majority of the country, not in every single region, but we've lost majority of our culture and our continuity. So now, it's like a big hole that's in the middle that we're trying to kind of bridge that gap and then, pull the history and come forward. So I just think it's going to take a real concerted effort from everyone to come forward and join together and quit siloing ourselves in our church communities and even in our regions. Like our region is really different from your region, which is really different from Southwest, which is really different from fill in the blank. And everyone has, amazing ideas. And they think like everyone knows this. And in actuality, no, we don't.
Well, I'm going to send out a Google spreadsheet, or somebody is going to send out a Google spreadsheet. It's going to come most likely through the Y.O.U Alumni Network account. But in this spreadsheet, there's all the ideas that I have come across or talked about in here and in other presentations. But you guys can also add your own. Any ideas you have, anything that works for you, and I'll add in a notes tab where people can comment that what has worked, what hasn't worked, what have they learned.
Great. I love it.
Amazing.
Thank
Very
you,
good. Thank
Miranda.
you.
Yay.
Yay.
13 seconds. Wait, we have time for a whole new share.
Quick, everybody talk.
Quick, tell us the meaning of life. Quick.
Quick.
Thank you,
42.
Miranda.
Love. 42. Yes.